Michael Kiwanuka is a London-based soul, psychedelic soul, R&B, deep soul musician. I first fell in love with the guy actually with his album Love and Hate. Some amazing songs on there, and one thing that I will say about him is that he very much takes the style that's been done to death so many times over the past like 4 or 5 decades and completely makes it his own. A lot of soul I come across these days, Durand Jones, Leon Bridges, just really plays the playbook down to a T. It's very formulaic. There's nothing really going on that I find particularly interesting because it's been done like in the 60s and the 70s way better. But there's something about Kiwanuka's warm presence that completely outshines his contemporaries. No disrespect to those guys because they are doing their own thing and it's, pretty solid for what it is. But yeah, I just kind of prefer Kiwanuka's approach to it. And while Kiwanuka is not quite as strong as Love and Hate, because that album is so good to me that it could potentially be like a decade endless type album, it is still a very good album on its own anyway. Once again, it does not feel like a particular throwback to the soul era. In fact, I feel as though this is a bit more independent of that era than even his last album. You can definitely find more to be swept away by in some of like the ambient passages between tracks, these swirling instrumentals, a very atmospheric tone of the entire album. He really has taken the sound a little bit further once again, I think. But the issue with this album for me is that something feels slightly missing at points. I mean, I'm not completely in awe of some of the like passages between tracks, the interludes especially really do feel quite directionless. You have tracks like Piano Joint and Hero which have these mini intros before they even start and they kind of feel a bit pointless to me. I feel like the album might have progressed a little bit better without them having them in the track list at all, because the thing is that they don't really add anything to the track. They're pretty soft, they're pretty tepid. It just doesn't really add much to the music. It's different to something like All of the Lights on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, for example, where that interlude honestly just feels purposeful. Like I don't know if the album would be better off without it. It feels like it needs to be there. I don't know why. It's kind of random, but it works, and these ones don't really do that for me. In terms of other negatives too, I guess there are some lyrical moments like on Lights that just feel a bit basic, Shine a Light on Me, that kind of thing. Although I do like the track Hero with its lyrical content though, where he's kind of questioning his status and where he belongs. I guess when you get to a certain level of fame, you do have people looking up to you, and I like it when artists kind of question that about themselves. There are some great blues rock tunes that kick off the album as well. Like I think honestly these are some of the best moments here, the intro track especially, and then Rolling, which comes right after. Rolling might just completely debunk the entire existence of the Black Keys. Like it just sounds like a Black Keys song done so well, and I just wonder sometimes why the Black Keys have not really managed to get it right for so many years. It's got a killer bass line, it's got a great tune to it as well. Oh man, it's such a great track. I like Michael going in this direction. You Ain't the Problem's got a great melody to it as well with the vocals when they're like ba da ma 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 ba da 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 da. It's kind of got this like rough around the edges recording quality to it as well, which I kind of dig. Again, these kind of set the album up to be something a bit different than it ended up being, I think. Again, as I mentioned with those passageways in between some of the tracks, I just feel like if you'd replace them with a bit more of a biting instrumental, I think we could have had an even better album than what we got here. But the thing is that Living in Denial is a track that just completely shows the best abilities of what Michael's got. Like, he can just kill a great soul track, with his vocals. He has so much heart and passion coming out of his voice. You just can't say no to it. And that's the biggest appeal of Michael in general, honestly. Like, he just has that kind of delivery that feels like it's coming from such a powerful place, and you're always tuned into his voice no matter what he's saying. I mean, just take his feature on the Little Sims album that came out earlier in the year. Honestly, one of the best tracks on that album, I think. and for the reason of Michael himself. He can just take control of an entire song and an entire room with just his vocals. He really is just a massive talent. So yeah, this is a really strong album, I think. Not as strong as his last album, but there are some major highlights that keep me wanting more people to check Michael out. He's just such a great musician. But unfortunately, there aren't really any high points that quite reach the highs on Love and Hate. I mean, his best song to date is This Cold Little Heart. He hasn't topped that with this album, and some of his other tracks as well on that album, Black Man in a White World, One More Night. Like, again, they're really, really strong moments. Like, he isn't quite reaching with this one. So I will go a 7 out of 10. I think it is still very good on its own merits. Let me know what you think of it if you've checked it out. I've seen a little bit more buzz for this one than his usual output, so it's great to see he's making the rounds, starting to get a bit more popular. I'm happy for him. It's good stuff. Thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you've enjoyed what I had to say. Hopefully you enjoyed the album too. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Do have a good day, and goodbye. Subscribe if you haven't already.